Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? Oh, my hair. Oh, my hair. My hair looks all messy. Okay, don't matter. Okay, so how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. I was not feeling well this morning, but decided to wake up. Just woke up a few minutes ago, like 15 minutes ago. So what up, people? How you doing? You noticed that I put down my Okay, you noticed. Oh gosh. Okay, you notice that I put down some of my videos, like I took off some of my videos that were not having any viewership, so I decided to take them down, and also the one from last night, um, due to the fact that I felt like I gave wrong information. So, but anyway, I was talking last night. I was talking about the 13 kids, young adults that got shot. And I still really, I'm going to read up more on it because I really don't want to give out wrong information. But anyway, we were talking about suicide awareness today, and a friend of mine made like um, a discussion about it, and it was kind of sad because I didn't know that this person had somebody that had passed away, and they knew that person very well, and what they were talking about was very relatable to some of the people that were there in the in the viewer, well, in the comment section, also on the show. So I really don't know how it feels to lose a family member with suicide. But I have known people who have committed suicide, and we have known them. Like, I remember this one young man that used to live, in my building back in New York City. He was always bullied by by other people, especially the kids in the neighborhood, because he was kind of slow and such a good kind of good kind person, and never bothered anyone. He always kept to himself. I was, going to work every day. He was like kind of like a person who had a severe disability, mental wise. So, but he was so sweet. And I remember that. I remember when, we used to say hi to him, and we do remember, when it happened. We were all sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden you could hear, somebody, um, like going. It was so sad. It was like he was on the ledge, and he lived like, I think he lived on like 7 floors above us. I think he lived on the 7th floor, if I'm not mistaken. And all of a sudden, we see this thing going down. Like, we see this shadow, because we used to have like a curtain in our apartment. We always used to have a curtain in our apartment, and we saw this shadow going down. And as it went down, it burst. As it hit the ground, it burst. You could hear this very big pop, and we were like, like we looked at each other, and we said to ourselves, what could have happened? Um, well, of course, the ambulance came and everything. We were trying to find out who it was, and when we found out, um, it was him. It was him, and it was so sad because I guess that at that time he felt so lonely. He wanted somebody to talk to. He felt depressed because, he was bullied all the time. Every time he would walk out, he would feel, he was bullied. And it's so sad because he never had the chance to talk to anyone. He was basically a person who was all to himself. And he lived by himself, by the way, as well. But it was a very sad thing because the only people that he would say hi to was actually us, and we were very friendly to him, and he would smile. And but it goes to show, like, all the time, those people who commit suicide, usually um, you can't tell when somebody is at the brink, and you can't tell when the person is going to commit suicide. And usually suicide, yeah, with what they were discussing and discussing was that basically some of the suicidal thoughts come from medication, over medicated drugs, that when you're over medicated or when you are addicted to a certain drug, your body gets accustomed to it and your whole mood changes, like your whole mood and your personality, and you're no longer the person that you used to be because you're so heavily medicated that you're not realizing that, um, you don't realize that what's happening to you is that, you know the drugs have overtaken your body and your mind. And so really, doctors really, when you go, like, I have been to, to to group therapies, and I've also been to psychiatrists and stuff like that, like, to relieve some of my anxieties that I have, and also, my stress. And sometimes medication is not always for some things, because that, I think that's why people who are medicated don't normally want medication. What they want mostly is for someone to listen to them, somebody to have a listening ear. And, you know, and I think that some doctors, especially, especially doctors who are psychiatrists, especially, they don't really want to have, excuse me, they don't really want to have a one-on-one with their patients. And they don't want to, like, every day they're dealing with different patients with different symptoms, with different diseases, with different kind of illnesses, you know and it is so complicated, because being that they do have mental illness, it shouldn't be so. And I've discussed this many times in my other videos, where some patients or some people who are heavily medicated, or who have some kind of history, a mental history, re, regardless if it's from your mother or from your father's side, if you have, these ongoing issues of being depressed and always being medicated, and doctors think that that is the to solve the problem. And for once, I would like to, have a doctor say, are you okay? You know, how is that medication going for you? Is it really helping you to deal less with anxieties, to deal less with your depression, and to manage it at least, But when I used to go to see my therapist, when I used to talk to doctors, all they would do is just sit down and say, okay, so I'm going to put this medication let's just say like 5 milligrams, and then they'll put 20. This is just an example. Like I'm gonna put 5 milligrams, and I'm gonna up it up if you don't, if you don't feel anything that's helping you. Well, I'll just raise it to 25. He'll just write the prescription up, and he won't take that time. You know, I felt like I felt like a machine, like a robot. Like I would sit there and he wouldn't say anything to me. Like he was expecting me to talk to him. Here's a doctor who earns the millions and millions, like I'm gonna say millions, like he's getting really good money, and he's getting paid to do a job that you know that the only thing he's getting paid for is for medicating patients who have mental illness. When I think of a psychiatrist, when I thought of a psychiatrist, I thought to myself that a psychiatrist would be the kind of doctor that you can rely on, or that you can sit down and talk to. Most of the time, you'll find, like, very rare would you even find a doctor who would actually sit down with you and actually talk to you, and um, motivate you, or help you to feel better. You know what I mean? I have a doctor, and he's my heart doctor. He's a very good doctor. And I was surprised at how he was treating me, because most doctors don't even go the distance of even talking to their patients. They don't. And I understand that you have other patients to deal with, and it's a hard job when you have to go through tests, or you know um, have a patient who's extremely uh, has an illness that that you're trying to make that patient feel better. But sometimes it's not really about just giving your patient just medication and buy, and just ask them how they are, and that's it. you know um, like I said, this doctor, he actually sat down, and he was having, as he was doing and checking me, my physical state being, he also was having really good conversation with me. And we were talking about how important money is. And we were talking about when he didn't have any money, how, not money in a sense that, what are you making? No, he was talking about his childhood. He was talking about, how as a young adult, he had to struggle, and he didn't have anything back then. And now that he has, he really appreciates it. And this conversation didn't last an hour, I have you know. And he even asked me, he said, how you doing? I see that you're stressed. We need to talk about, how your health is going. And, we want to get into doing more tests with you. How is your migraine? You know, it's like, it was so genuine the way that he was approaching me. It's like no other like no other doctor has ever done that. They just check your high blood pressure, and they don't even ask, or they don't even take the time to tell you, well, look, your high blood pressure is high. It was like this number, and you need to control it, or we need to find other solutions to control your high blood pressure. You know what I mean? And the doctor was just like, when you have money, you feel good. You feel like you can conquer and your problems more easily, because you have money. But when if you don't have any money, you stress out about almost every little thing. So he was like kind of relating, he was kind of trying to be relatable to what I was going through, and he was trying to really be sympathetic on my situation, and it didn't even have to take an hour, for me to get out of that office, and feel a whole lot better. So, even though I feel well, but when I came out of the office, I felt better than when I came in, mentally. And I felt like, wow, I almost wanted to go out and, be creative, or, I wanted to look for work, which of course I can't at this very moment. But what I'm trying to say is that that's all you need, is to uplift somebody and give them, you know, like something, a word of lift, some kind of um, encouragement, so that they find that there is a, better way, and that, just talking it out can really help. And some doctors just sit with you on a one-on-one, and they don't really give a shit. They're like, oh yeah, I'll write this medication for you, and that's just basically, that's it. They don't have this one-on-one with you, where, how are you doing, how was your day, how are you feeling, um, can we, how your day was. You look like, you are depressed, or you look like, you know, you don't look like yourself. You want to go to your doctor and feel like, okay, at least he cares enough to ask me. But then when I've been to psychiatrists who just will not have a one-on-one with you, and just over medicate you, and they just don't want to deal with you, because they get very good money for just sitting there and just giving you medication. And I know that there are probably 1,000 million doctors probably watching this, but maybe you should listen to your patients, and really, I think that we would have a decrease of suicidal people if doctors especially would sit down with their patients. Sure, you have a lot of patients, and probably that one patient may just want just you to listen. And a psychiatrist may very well tell you, well, that's not in my field. My field is to just medicate you. Well, you know what? I feel like if I'm talking to a psychiatrist, it should be better than a psychologist, because you are a psychiatrist, and you studied, about behaviors, and also psychology, and how the mind works. And you have all these physicians, um, plaques showing that you are a profession at this, at this field, or in this field. So yeah, like I was actually, I felt like when I went to a psychiatrist, I felt like, wow, you know, all you're doing is just medicating me. And I told him from the get go, I told him, look, you are giving me medication, and this is not for everyone. And I'm not saying this. If you have your medication and you know that you need it, you need to take your medication. If you feel that you can't handle, or that you are living um, in a lot of anxiety and stress, and you need your medication to balance it out, then you take your medication. But many of the times, I handle I handled the way my doctor gave me my medication. I'm not just going to sit here for 15 minutes and just, you're going to write, you know, medication for me. And many of the times those medications were switched to other medications like Ativan that makes me bleed from the nose. Many of the medications lower your libido, or your sexual, your sexual libido. You know what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, many of the medications are not good medications, and then some of them are, and then there are doctors that just over medicate the patient where that patient is no longer a human. They're just a walking time bomb ready to explode, because what it is you're medicating that patient, and that patient has no kind of outlet. And even if they want to communicate what you think is very good for your patients, and I'm talking directly to doctors, is that you should be very careful in trying to medicate, you know, your patients, and try to listen. Like those situations like that where patients are over medicated, and I'm not a doctor, so I have no right to say this, but I can relate to those who do take medication and they feel like they have no other way out only but to drink medication, and to drink medication to numb their hurt, and to numb anything that is happening to them inside. And I feel for them because I know what's that like. I know what that is like. I know what it is to go through anxiety. I know what it is to be in an apartment where you have no one to talk to only but your pets. That's why it's good to have pets sometimes. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, you need another outlet, and just not medication. So I used to take medication where I would go throughout the day sleeping. I used to go throughout the day sleeping, and not speak to anyone, and just go out throughout the day just sleeping. And those are the kind of things that are not good when you have somebody who is depressed, and then on top of that you're medicating them, you know and then not sitting down with them and actually really talking to them. And if you feel like you're a doctor who cannot help that patient, and you know direct that patient to either a group therapy where he or she can let out their feelings and talk, because we're having a very high rate of suicide, a very high rate. Even when today it was all about veterans. I'm sorry, and it was really all about veterans, but also it was. I took it like I took those things that person was saying on their show. I literally took it like that they were talking to me. You understand? And so that show in particular was a very good show. It was a long show, but it was very informative. It was very clear that many of the people that were there as guests, one way or another, went through a situation where either a family member or a friend or somebody that they knew go through a suicidal episode, or they committed suicide. And it's very, very hurtful when you know that a friend of yours or a relative of yours or a son or a daughter is going through something that let, they can't voice it. And so when you can't voice something, you feel like you're trapped, because the only way out is to sleep it out, or to just medicate yourself so that you would take away that pain that you have inside. Is a great pain. Depression in itself is a killer. Oh, excuse me. Yes. Hello.
Hey Maria, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you? How you doing?
Fine. I stopped here to get some chicken with lavender, and
Oh,
I just wanted to call to see how you was doing. Cause I was supposed to do that earlier today, but I've been in the street all damn day.
oh no, I'm okay. I'm all right. I mean, I've been sick. Yeah, I've had my headaches, but yeah, oh, wait a minute. Joyce, let me call you back because I was on live just right now.
Oh Lord, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You didn't do anything wrong. Just let me get off that so that they don't hear what we're talking about, okay?
Oh, I got you.
All right. And I'll call
All
you
right.
right. I'll call you right back. I'm going to call you right back.
Okay. All right.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Okay, guys. I have another call. Hey, hey, look who's here. Hey, baby, how you doing? I'm sorry. Hey, you take, hey, all right. I see. Good job, Kobe. Good job, Colbert. That's a good job. Good job, Colbert. Susan, no. Susan, shoot, Kobe. Enough. Hey, shh. Okay. Susan, stop. Susan, I missed you. I missed you so much. Well, I need to come back again because I need to call a friend of mine. But come back again because I'm going to be coming back to the live again. I'm talking about something really important. I don't want to get off it, and I don't want to forget. So come back. Who's ever, on here who's live, or Susan, I am so happy to see you. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was so worried about you, but I'll be back. All right. I'll be back. Okay. All right, everybody. Do not, don't forget about me. Okay. Because I'm going to keep on talking and just saying hi to my friend Susan. I'm back here. I'm glad you're okay and that you're back. Oh my God.